Hey everybody, I'm Mike, this is Kinderhook Woodcraft, and today I'm in my daughter's shed. Her and her husband bought a house this year and have this shed on the property. It's got this nice workbench. I have an opportunity and a little bit of time, so I'm going to put out a couple project videos. Well, actually maybe not a project video. This is actually it's a jig for a project, I guess. And while I'm here, I'm probably going to finish up some of the footage I need for the drywall video. For those of you who've been waiting for that, it's coming, I promise. So last year I made a video about making these bird puzzles, the 6-piece puzzle, and what I needed was a way to, I wanted to do it with hand tools. So the way I was doing it in the video was I needed to hold this square piece on its corner. So I made a jig, I made a sort of a little cradle that it sit in, so I could saw at it with my hand saw and chisel at it. I bought this Mitre saw, and this is actually the second one of these I've had. You get this at Lowe's, it costs right around $50, and it's very worth it. You'd be surprised at the accuracy you can get with this thing. So what I wanted to do was make a jig that would allow me to make these cuts with this saw. So here's what I came up with. This assembly holds the pieces up at a 45-degree angle so that I'm sawing straight down. It's put together with just commonly available trim pieces. Of course, I found ways of improving this version as soon as I started using it, mostly having to do with stability. I needed it to be reversible, which is why I stuck the assembly in the middle. But this takes the fence out of the equation, and the sandpaper is there to keep it from slipping. This is just 3 pieces of trim. 2 pieces of quarter round and I guess it's a paneling corner, and at the bottom of course is just a little foot there. I'm calling it a foot to keep the piece from, otherwise it'd be sitting on its corner down there. And just in behind there I glued in a couple of blocks that were cut at 45 just to support it. And I figured out the height of this thing just with what amounts to 2 pieces of the puzzle. See, now this cut is just a little bit too tall, with very little support is what I mean. Now having said that, I did cut this puzzle using this setup, and it's a bit loose. It's not perfect, but this did a pretty daggone good job. But I had to take it one step further, so I made this. And trying to figure out how to make something to hold my puzzle pieces, I needed a V-groove. So I thought, this is a piece of, I guess, I don't know, paneling trim or whatever it is, and it's pine. But in order to hold my puzzle pieces, upright like this, I need something to support that. So I thought, what if I used a couple pieces of quarter round? And I initially thought I could, plane this flat or whatever, but all I did was super glue these together, and I'm almost out of glue, so I'm going to just try to get the strategic parts together. This piece wants to be just a little over 4 inches. I didn't measure it, I just used the piece to figure that out, but it ends up being 4 and I think 1/4 or so. And then I'll just pinch them together, and it's good to get them on a flat surface so what was that? That it's even there. And then I'll hold it for 10-15 seconds or something. I did that because sometimes your fingers will stick. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't gluing my hand to the... Okay, so that's good and it's flush. So now just go ahead and do the other side.
that'll work. So again, it wants to go like that.
I glue up 2 of these blanks at 12 inches, so I'll have one for my flat cradle and one to make the new jig. And that's pretty good. Now I'm gonna leave that sit for, I don't know, I'll let that sit for 15 or 20 minutes or so before I'll even try to cut it, just to let the glue do its thing. I'll go ahead and take a block plane or something like it and break the edges. Just a little bit. Now make sure all my joints are still tight. And we'll get the other side. Now if you do this carefully, you ought to be able to get really pretty good results. Or not. I didn't set it all the way to 45. Unbelievable. That's why I wanted you to, if I didn't mention it, I wanted this to be at least 12 inches because you need all this. You want to have a lot to hold on to while you're sawing it. So I recommend you cut off one side, then cut off the other, and then you make these cuts. That looks pretty good to me. You know, it's hard to reference all of this, but of course you can do this as well. I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty good. It's good enough for what this is. They need to be the same length. So you can just use one to mark the other. There you have it. And that's really all there is to this. So then at this point, I just fastened it to a base and I gave it a fence. And then I had to add these 2 little, I guess, feet or whatever, just to hold it. I really like this saw. You get this at Lowe's, it costs right around $50, and it's very worth it.